Who do you think is the better athlete in the house?
I think we're good at our own sports. We've tried to pin each other against on like difficulty, ability, and all of that stuff. So at the end of the day, gymnastics is harder if he agrees or not.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a nice politician answer, but here's the truth.
I'm not trying to stir anything up in that household.
I know your name. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say. I know your name. You know what I'm saying? So.
But let's go back. Let's go back to what you just said, which is that gymnastics is much harder. Sounds like this has been a household fight for some time. You want to get into it now? Maybe we clear it up.
We fought over it a couple times, and then we vowed once we got married we wouldn't talk about it again. But it keeps coming up every time. But he has done my workout in the gym, and he could barely do it. And then I went to their NFL workout, and I crushed it.
Fired. Shots fired.
She's doing a lot under her.
I mean,
it's a lot.
So, did she embarrass him at all?
I think she out of line. She out of line.
Yeah.
She all the way out of line for that. But was this before or after that interview? Because then she's being petty. She's being tick for tack, which is a bad sign. But you know, I'm rude for them for everybody black. Did she do that after his interview?
So this was posted after. I'm not really sure if they just dug it up, but this was posted after. And this
that would have a lot to do with. But yeah, she was. She definitely could have kept that to herself. Just like he could have kept what he said to himself, being a celebrity. So maybe they have an understanding between each other. Maybe they just both competitive and petty, and they like that about each other. Cause yeah, she wasn't. That was.
Okay, mistaken.
I would go ahead and get the heat. Under the context, I don't know. I'm gonna watch it again. Can you drop it? But the reason I was gonna say is that it seems like it was.
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it one more time.
It appeared to be a
NFL,
playful
right?
atmosphere.
Who do you think is the better athlete in the house?
I think we're good at our own sports. We've tried to pin each other against on like difficulty, ability, and all of that stuff. So at the end of the day, gymnastics is harder if he agrees or not.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a nice politician answer, but here's the truth.
I'm not trying to stir anything up in that household.
I know your name. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say. I know your name. You know what I'm saying? So.
But let's go back. Let's go back to what you just said, which is that gymnastics is much harder. Sounds like this has been a household fight for some time. You want to get into it now? Maybe we clear it up.
We fought over it a couple times, and then we vowed once we got married we wouldn't talk about it again. But it keeps coming up every time. But he has done my workout in the gym, and he could barely do it. And then I went to their NFL workout, and I crushed it.
Fired. Shots fired.
She's doing a lot under her.
I mean,
it's a lot.
To me, it seems playful. That's all I can say. But if we look at it from what we were saying before, my first reaction is it seemed playful. I'm gonna be honest about that. However, if we're measuring about accountability and looking at it from both perspectives equally, then yes, it can be viewed the same way that when he said that he was the catch and people got offended for her because it felt like she was that he was putting her down. Looking at it from that aspect, then yes, I could say the same thing can be said on that end, where other people could feel that she put him down by saying that he couldn't do her workout, but she was able to do his. So
elite athletes don't play like that. Elite athletes don't play like that. She was dead serious. She was wrong.
Like I said, a lot of conversation, and I just watched a video on this not too long ago in terms of things that are being said and watching body language, how a lot of the body language also gives you information outside of what is just being said. And looking at her body language and her laughing and everybody else laughing and what she said in terms of the context beforehand, it did seem like it was a laughing, in joust, like playing around. But like I said, if I looked at it, if I looked at it, giving it the same weight as we had the first conversation, if she can be offended by what he said, then he can definitely be offended by what she said. That's it. I'm just saying how I took it personally myself this go around, but looking at the same metrics, then yes.
Go ahead, Shan.
Okay, so yeah, I think that she was a little out of pocket. I think the first, when she answered at the beginning, she was going good. She's like, I think we're both great at what we do. It shouldn't have been elaborated on. It should have just been that. However, I'm gonna have to say, I think these are two different things. I think when you're talking about the catch, we're talking about the relationship, which is the marriage. One is talking about the field, gymnastics versus football. You know, it's not necessarily a knock to the couple, but to the game, so to speak. But I will say just a word of advice: don't ever belittle your man in front of people. Period. That is not a good look at all. She should have just said, he's a great football player. I respect everything he does. He's great at it. It shouldn't be a competition. Like, I do this, you do that, we come together and we do this, you know. So that's the part I do not agree with. But we have to, in both situations, I think there has to be grace. These are young adults. They're not going to get it right. They're just not, unless their publicist is there in front of them saying, don't say this, don't say that. 24, I don't know what would have came out of my mouth at 24 or 7, whatever their ages are, because I'm not 24 anymore. So I've lived life long enough to know that there are just things that you do not say, and they just haven't yet. But they are working together. It seems to be a little joke they got going on. Hopefully it went well for him. He understands it. He laughed about it, and hopefully the opposite. So that's all that matters.
All right.
Do y'all remember the interview with Beyonce's mom when she was next to her ex-husband?
That was disrespectful.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask.
That was so out of pocket.
Okay.
What was that? Can you
on
explain
a different kind
happened?
of level of out of pocket?
Okay.
Jay, can you say what happened? Because I don't think I saw it.
So they were sitting there, they were doing an interview, both sitting next to each other on the couch. And she made it
Black Love when it black that
yes,
Black Love.
Yeah. Damn, I wish I could find it, man. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it.
And she said it in such a nasty way, like, you're not perfect. Like, the way she said it, I was like,
all right, well,
matters.
While Jay is pulling that up, let me go ahead and go to Luis, and then Jay, let me know when you get it. Just share it to the screen.
I mean, I would say this. I think that first interview, kind of looking at this holistically, I think that first interview, I could tell that he wasn't media trained. I could tell that he wasn't media trained. I don't think that he had the right people in his corner that told him, like, hey, I've done this dozens of times and I've coached other people through these. Like, don't fall for the okie doke with these podcasters. They're going to ask you some tough questions. They're going to trip you up. They're going to try to pin you against your significant other, girlfriend, spouse, etc. Right? Answer these things gracefully. Stay away from these things, and know how to pivot. Right? Don't become a viral moment. And I think that when you're in the moment, it's hard to kind of think about all those things. Like, okay, like, let me be conscious of this and stuff like that. But I just think that I think maybe perhaps both of them are not well media trained. You know what I'm saying? I think her a little bit less because, she's had the spotlight. She's, has had the notoriety, especially with the Olympics and stuff like that. So I think there has been like a coaching process with her because I think it seems like she answers things a lot more with confidence and a lot straightforward. Versus him, it seems like he's trying to grasp for some straws, and I think that's just a little bit of evolving. You know what I'm saying? Not so much with him, but just knowing how to interview well and how to answer questions and how to avoid the pitfalls that might land you into some even more questionable things where people might end up poking and probing your life and picking it apart. Look, I think when you interview like that, you have to play offense and you have to play defense. You have to play offense to make your union look spectacular, and you have to play defense where you have to cover each other, where somebody might be trying to crack into your relationship armor. You know what I'm saying? So I think it plays well on both sides, but I just find that they're young. You know what I'm saying? They're young. They've kind of been in the spotlight. They have a level of confidence. They're very, driven. And sometimes they're just gonna say things that might not particularly come out the way that they intended to say it. You know what I'm saying? What they're thinking in their head. But yeah, I would just probably employ that people moving forward think a lot more harder about answering questions and just say I have no comment for that and just keep it moving.